silent scream. Heart beat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I haven't met. I've been down where the doubt is loud. I've been lost in the digital crowd. But the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantees, but I'm on my way. If I fall, I rise. That's the game I play. Tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. Late night glow from a silent screen. Heartbeat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I have. I've been down with it loud. I've been lost in a digital crowd. But the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantee, but I'm on my way. If I fall, I rise. That's the game I play. Tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway.
Alright, legends. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. It is Monday, getting ready for the week. Let me just put my mic a little bit closer so you can hear me crispy. There we go. Welcome to the live stream. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. I can see a lot of people are still streaming in. Okay, let me just put the music ever so slightly in the background. What can we expect for today? I think there was two very interesting levels that I'm watching here at the moment, and we're going to discuss that now. But here on the 1 hour time frame, guys, as per the thumbnail, I'll go through the local scenarios, okay, and the Elliot wave scenarios, but here on for the bulls. Yes, I know we're getting some pumpy action here to the upside. Definitely it can continue, but it doesn't really look great here for the bulls at the moment. There is, unfortunately, a little bit of a higher chance to make a lower high in this region and continue the momentum to the downside. This structure here can be counted as an impulse. which is either completed or it's still going to make one more fifth wave and then get a correction and continuation here to the downside. But those are some of the scenarios that I want to discuss. So price is now at the highest volume node. Okay, yes, it looks like it wants to punch through, but this can, guys, we are hitting, price is hitting resistance here at the moment. So there's a chance that it starts falling back down. Okay, and I will go through the local structure here in a moment. We'll basically look at this structure here. So stay tuned until the very end not to miss out on any alpha. I have to put the disclaimer out there. I'm sharing with you how I approach the markets from a technical perspective, how I plan to trade the markets from a shorting and longing perspective. Okay, whoever caught that little short here at the top, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that short was highlighted inside of our community. Andy also spoke about that short. So whoever got into that short and, played the trade here to the downside, almost tapping the value area low, congratulations. That was a massively successful trade here to the downside. Okay, I have taken a significant amount of profits here at the lows. Okay, so nice little trade here to the downside. And just a little bit of a recap. You all know where that trade came from. Just want to make sure that I have that here. That was basically a rejection from the anchored VWAP. Okay, when you take your anchored VWAP from the high, okay, you tap it, you retest it, you continue to the downside. Beautiful trade. Guys, it's not about bull market or bear market. It's about trading the structures in front of you. You're hitting resistance. Okay, there was also a 1.618 level, if I remember correctly, as I was updating the community. I think this was also a level that I was watching. Okay, guys, just from an education perspective, I think I took a fib from this low to the high, to the low. Look at that. Okay, beautiful. This was also what I highlighted in the community. We got the anchored VWAP, we got the 1.618. We know how powerful that level is. You get the rejection, you come back for the retest, and you continue to the downside. So whoever took that trade, congratulations. But now we have to acknowledge, okay, what is happening here more locally. Before I jump here into the local structure, because I know that's most people's interest at the moment is, what's cooking here? You want those trading opportunities, scenarios, what I am looking at. Okay, I cannot tell anyone else what they need to do. Right. Something to pay attention to here on the larger time frame. Okay, let's take the noise here out of the chart. Okay, just quickly on the 1 hour time frame before we jump into the smaller time frames. Okay. The bullish case scenarios does not look great. There's been a lot of scenarios that has been invalidated from a bullish perspective. Okay, there is still one left, but even that one does not look so great, but it can still play out where momentum continues to the upside and we eat up the high again. Okay, the one scenario that I still have left is that scenario. But that scenario also rejects and falls down. Okay, so it is short-term bullish, but it's long-term still bearish, where you have a high chance of claiming the low once again. So let's start with the scenario where we have finished a WXY to the upside. You have a W, you finished an X in a triangle, okay, an A, B, C, D, E, and now you have formed an ABC to the upside to complete your Y wave. This little Y wave did not claim the 786, it rejected at the minimum target of the 0.618, which is considered a minimum target for a Y wave. It was also the anchored VWAP, it was the 1.618 when you do a fib from the, what I've just shown you guys. So beautiful rejection here to the downside. So in this scenario, there is a chance that the high is in, you're forming an impulsive structure to the downside. Maybe this is the correction and you continue and you take out the low at $60,000. Okay, so I am very interested from a technical perspective in shorts. Very interested in shorts because I know the scenario, the structure could be done. It could be done over here and we are starting to build impulses to the downside. And I know everyone is looking at this scenario, you know, the fractal. Let me put myself here back into the smaller, you know. Everyone is looking at this, saying that so far this fractal has repeated itself almost 99%. So everyone is expecting this little monstrosity dump here to the downside. And, okay, we got the bull trap. We claimed the high. We got the retest, like I've just shown you, the retest of the anchored VWAP. And now can we find continuation to the downside? Right, legends. So it unfortunately does not look good for the bulls. Okay, at the moment, based on the structure that I see at the moment, it does not look good for the bulls. Right, so I will dive into the local structure now. So there's another variation that I would like to share with everyone, is that this structure can still be bullish, where I basically move Y over there. Okay, and let me discuss that scenario. And that is basically where we slightly extend the Y wave. But you can see that I'm still looking at corrective structures. Okay, maybe this is just going to form a larger corrective structure. You have a W, you still have the X in the triangle, okay, and now you have formed an A wave here to the upside. You come down in a B, which we have now tapped a B flat target, and there's a chance that you can form an impulsive structure to the upside. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, after which you want to see a rejection and continuation to the downside. I don't particularly favor this scenario because the Y wave is becoming very long compared. Okay, let me show you guys. If I measure how long from the low to the high it took this W to form, how long did it take this structure to form? And how long is it going to take Y wave to form from this pivot over here? And there's usually a relationship between these two structures. So let me measure it. Okay, I like to take my time FIB from the low to the high of W. I then put it at the end of X, right over there. And you can see that if the scenario had to play out where we've now tapped a B flat target and we go up for a C wave, okay, we've already passed the 2 extension. So it means that Y is already twice the length of W, which is fine. But if it's going to create a lazy 5-wave impulse here to the upside, you can see that it's going into the danger territory unless it happens very quickly. You want to see the structure rampage here to the upside so that it does not go into the danger zone. Okay, so there's a chance for the bulls, if this momentum continues here to the upside, stops me out from my short, which I've already taken most of the profits, I will be looking for a short once again. Okay, hopefully in this zone, because you want the C wave to be aggressive to the upside so that it doesn't become out of balance compared to the wave W. Okay, so you basically want to see something like this. You want to see your wave 1, you want to see a wave 2, correction, you want to see a rampage here to the upside, maybe your wave 4. And remember guys, your C wave has to be a 5-wave structure. This little C wave has to be a 5-wave structure. Okay, so if it can do something like that, then I would say the scenario is still in play. Okay, but it needs to happen fast because you don't really want the Y, okay, to go into the red zone. My red, can you guys see all my red lines from the 4 onwards? Okay, because the bullish case scenarios does not look great. So I'm still looking at a corrective structure. It's still a 3-wave structure, after which, okay, you still have this consolidation area to contend with, which is going to provide massive resistance. It still goes up, makes one more high, falls to the downside. For the moment, I cannot give the scenario the highest probability. But it can still play out, and that is why I'm talking about it. So, okay, there's the alternative. It's either we make one more high and we fall down, okay, that's what I'm seeing here from a structural perspective, or it's done. And price is now building a 1, 2, maybe a 3, a 4, a 5. It builds a 5-wave structure. It has a correction and it continues back to the downside, which for now carries the highest probability. Because you can already see a completed 3-wave structure, and this wave and this wave is in balance. So it looks better. And Elliott wave theory, they also talk about the look of a structure. Does it look right? Does it look in proportion? You can have very long X waves or B waves. Okay. And which brings me to this, the bullish case scenarios that we were discussing last week, is to say we had this one. Okay. You could form an ABC, an A, B, C to the upside. But now this doesn't make sense anymore. We claimed the lows. Okay, I cannot with a high confidence count an impulse here to the upside. This structure that is formed up until this pivot looks like a damn three-wave structure. It looks like a three-wave structure. There's no 5. Where's 4? Where's 5? It just technically doesn't make sense anymore to move up to complete a C wave to the upside, because since the B was formed over here, you have to count an impulsive structure to the upside. And when I look at this structure, 1, 2, okay, maybe there was 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. That didn't happen, so I can't count it like that. Another scenario that comes to mind is to say that, well, maybe it was an ending diagonal, okay? Ending diagonal has been invalidated. You had to take the high one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That didn't happen. So I can't count this. Invalidated. Okay, and you can see where the invalidation is for this scenario. If I take the scribble here out the way, there was my invalidation for this scenario. Price fell down, did not take the high. So I can't count this as an ABC. Or for price to find its feet and still continue up in a bullish manner. Okay, so the bullish case scenarios, unfortunately, technically does not look great. It looks more likely that price is going to form a lower high and continue to the downside for now. Unless something changes, and I will keep the community up to date. Okay, I've already posted everything that you guys see over here, and especially the local scenarios from a rejection perspective that I'm watching. I've already posted inside of the community. And after the live stream, and if I see and spot something else based on how price action changes, I will keep the community up to date. And remember, if you want to be part of the community, okay, 250 people watching at the moment. I need to tap that like button ever so gently. Okay, DM me the word access. That's it, just this word, access. Here's my Telegram. And I'll send you instructions on how to be part of this amazing community. I see a lot of people sharing their analysis, learning from each other. And I'm sure a lot of you watching right now are already part of this amazing community. Guys, I can honestly tell you that I have belonged to many communities during my trading career when I started out. And I'm not just saying that our community is great because it's my community. I've belonged to many communities in the past, and I can honestly tell you that this community for me is the greatest community, because it's also a community that I used to belong to before I started the YouTube channel. Because I needed to surround myself with like-minded people. I needed to talk to people that actually knew what the hell they were talking about. Okay, I needed to learn. I needed to teach. I needed to share my ideas. I needed to get feedback on my analysis. I needed to see what Andy was thinking about as well, to compare my analysis against his analysis. So this was, the community that I belonged to before I started my YouTube channel. Right. Absolute amazing community. So if you want to be part of it, DM me the word access and we'll sort you out. Right, guys. So currently getting the rejection. So what I want to pay attention to now is, guys, let's dive here into the 15-minute time frame. Let's look at this local structure. I will go back to the 1-hour time frame if I have to, and just show you guys which other scenarios have been invalidated. Okay, one of the levels I was really keeping an eye on, well, it was 2 levels. It's this range high, because I know after a fall with high volume, that first high that you make offers nice resistance. So if price, and this will be a level that I will definitely be watching at the moment, if price continues momentum here to the upside, I will look for a swing failure from this line. Because looking at the structure, I'm not going to go into the detailed counts, guys, because I don't have to, okay, because I have my areas of confluence. But this looks like a 1, 2, okay, you have your third wave here to the downside in another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so maybe this is your 1, 2, 3, it's forming your 4, and it can form another low to the downside. And then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get a correction, continuation back to the downside. So I'm very interested in shorts in the zone. In fact, I've actually just entered a short because I saw the rejection at this level. Okay. As I was getting ready here for the live stream, clicking the buttons, making sure the music plays, I saw the rejection from a weekly point of control. If you want to know how to get these, okay, so basically this was the level, okay. Weekly naked point of control, we got the rejection. I have my stop loss above the highs. I've already protected now my position. My position is now already protected. Just want to make sure that my position is protected. Yeah, my position is protected. And I am taking some profits to cover my fees, because you all know that is how I trade. I'm taking some profits just to cover my fees. So it's a free trade at the moment. There we go. Right, guys, so that was the short that I was interested in. Also, if you go onto the weekly time frame, because I know I get a lot of questions from people saying, Devil, how do you get these levels? Okay, on the weekly time frame, because these are weekly levels, I want to see every week on a Monday, I want to see in the previous week, which is this week over here, where was the most amount of volume traded in that week. So what I would do, and this is my method of doing it, I will take my fixed range volume profile, okay, and I snap it onto the candle. I click on the top and I click anywhere at the bottom and it will snap it up. And you will see, if I zoom in here, there's a little red line. Okay, can you guys see the red line over there? Let me just take this. There's a red line. That during last week was where the most amount of volume was traded, and these levels do offer resistance and support depending on from which way price is coming. So this is now where we just got the rejection from, and I just entered a small little short position over there. Saw the rejection. I was like, okay, well, if I do get stopped out and price continues to the upside, well, that is the next level that I'm watching. So that's basically how I get that level from an education perspective, because I know everyone here does do appreciate education. So let's go back here onto the 5-minute time frame. Yes, guys, and I know I am stuffing around here on the 5-minute time frame, because what is interesting about this little structure that is forming over here, okay, I just quickly want to talk about this structure that is forming here to the upside. And there's a couple of ways in which you can count the structure. And I've, by the way, guys, I've already shared this inside of the community already, so they know. Okay, so that could now be your fifth wave here to the upside. So the one count that I have is multiple 1-2s. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You get the rejection, and now what you want price to do, okay, if this is the high, you want it to get back into the channel. You want price to get back into the channel, because once you lose the channel, okay, that's most probably where I'm going to add to my position. It's just about trade management at the end of the day. But I know that there's another scenario where we could get a bounce. So I'll have to observe what price is going to do when it hits that level. The one thing I also want to, okay, let me first tackle all the scenarios. One scenario is this one over here, multi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. The impulse is done because it's a multi 1-2. You want to see a larger 3-wave corrective structure. You either continue to the downside or you make a higher low and you continue back to the upside. As soon as I start seeing signs of strength, maybe bullish CVD building up against these pivots, okay, there's a chance that you could form a higher low. You have a consolidation area that can provide support. So if price falls down here, you have support. And it struggles, there's a chance you can go and claim that high, because after an impulse, you want to see a 3-wave corrective structure and continuation back to the upside. Okay. Maybe you play the break of momentum, however you want to trade this. Okay, so next scenario is, just want to make sure that I have them all. Did I? Okay, is that this is a B wave. This was your A, and you fall down for C. And this is basically also a different count, but same outcome. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Impulse ended over there. This is part of an A, B, you go down for C, and you continue to the upside. So looking for a long. I want to see, okay, you have support. Can you guys see you have support? Now, because you have a flat, you have a B that took the high of 5. Most commonly, what you want to see is a C that takes the low of A. So this zone looks interesting for me for a long. And that's basically my trading plan, guys. I was looking, and this is what I highlighted this morning in the community. I don't care what the structure does. I don't care if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whether this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. I don't care what it is. Okay, because what was most important to me this morning is to say that this is a shorting zone and this is a longing zone. And depending on how the structure unfolds, I will make a trading decision. If price wants to continue here to the upside, well, that is the next zone that I will be looking for a short. It's the range high. And you can see when I zoom in here a little bit, okay, can you guys see that little pivot? You have a drop with high volume. You make that first high. That is what I refer to as the range high. And then vice versa, I would call that the range low. If price is coming from, upwards and it makes that first low and it continues up. So basically just to, okay, if this was the scenario, then I would call it the range low. You have a push up with high volume, the first low that you make. And I know the community knows I often talk about the scenario because these little areas offer great support or resistance depending on from which way price is coming. Okay, so if price does want to continue here to the downside, that is where I will be keeping an eye on. And there are specific rules for this scenario, which I will highlight inside of the community if price gets there. Okay, I'm not going to go through it now. It's just going to take too much time at the moment. Right, let's just put the price action back the way that it's supposed to be. What's the difference between resistance or getting a shirt squeeze? A shirt squeeze is usually where you squeeze the water out of the shirt, and a sorry, I'm just being funny. Short squeeze, same thing. Okay, resistance. You're going into resistance. I mean, also from a price action perspective. If I go onto the 15-minute time frame, okay, regardless of how you count the structure from an Elliot wave perspective, let's just clean up the chart. Just purely looking at price action. Sorry guys, just want to make sure that I'm not deleting stuff over here. Okay, when I look at price action, okay, you have these waves to the downside. Can you see the waves? This was a long weekend price action wave that took place over here. Okay, but these little consolidation areas before you have the move, okay, you form these consolidation areas. You have the move, you form a consolidation. When price comes back to these zones, it offers resistance. So if price has to continue, it offers resistance. So the last resistance point of this zone is at that range high. Okay, so from a price action perspective, price is now heading into resistance. You have resistance right over there. So it's normal to get a rejection or start. For me, it's an area where I start looking for shorts. Okay, I can't just be super bullish and, you enter a long and you just think price is going to do that. No. That's not how I trade. So if I was in a long, because I see some people did catch the long here at the bottom. If I can only share with you what I would do from a trading perspective. If I was in this long, this is definitely a zone where I start taking profits. Make sure that my position is protected. If price wants to continue, okay, another profit taking area depending on how price reacts at that zone. Okay, if it wants to continue, well, definitely another profit taking area. Okay, so now I just want to see if I have, what other scenarios do I have over here? Another scenario. Let's go back here onto the 5-minute time frame. Okay, this is where price basically forms a larger corrective structure. So you have formed an ABC you form another A, B, C, and a B, and you're going up for another. So you basically form an A, B, C, which is a bearish structure where you'll be looking for shorts. But you guys can see, for me, it doesn't matter how I count the structure. I'm looking at the same zones for longs and shorts based on confluence. We kind of front ran the value area low and stuck at the total range point of control. Yes, I know. I did highlight that during the beginning of the stream, okay? I think, yeah, on the 1 hour time frame, if price is going to get acceptance back below the point of control, you know, there's nothing bullish about that, okay? If you just take the range over here, as long as price, which it now looks like it wants to come back below, okay, if price starts trading back below the point of control, there's a good chance you're going to come and eat up this low, because this is resistance. And you can see at the moment, it just left that little wick behind. The next area that I'll pay attention to is that range high that I've highlighted. Okay, I'm not sure if I deleted that line now. Here we go. It's still a little bit further up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I know, I need to address this little scenario as well, because I know that there are people that counted this scenario. Just want to see, where did I save it? Nested 1, 2s. Okay, let me just redo it over here. I know that there are people that count this as such. Doesn't really matter where you, so 1, 2. Okay, let's just do A, B. There we go. Let's try and do this, something like this. But basically this is the end of your 5-wave move. Okay, if this is the end of your 5-wave move, well, then what I like to do is to take time from the high to the low. And there's a little bit of a problem. So it doesn't matter how you count the structure. It doesn't matter where you put your 3, where you put your 4. If you're counting the structure as done at the bottom, guys, and this is why I don't bother with going into the 1 minute, 5 minute time frame and trying to make sense of what happened here, because I don't have to anymore. Because I can use time, for example, and say, well, that is the start and this is the end. So if this is the end and this is an impulse, it's not time for the correction to be done. So this can still A, B, C, and then it's time. Remember, in the ABC that I've just shown you, this can be an A, B flat, C. And then you have your 3-wave corrective structure that finishes after the 0.382 and you continue to the downside. Okay, then there's another way of counting it, which I actually prefer a little bit more. 1, 2, all of this is your 3 here to the downside. Okay, up until that point, we're now forming the 4th wave and you still make one more low. So you claim the value area low properly. You claim it properly. Okay, but still, can you guys see, it doesn't matter how I count the structure, I'm still looking for a short in the same zone. Because if this is a 4 and it's going to fall down for a 5, well, I'm looking for the short in this zone. Okay, the only difference is if price falls here to the downside, it waterfalls, volume starts to kick in, then I will look for longs over here. This is where I will start looking for longs. Swing failure from one of these levels. Because from a daily or a weekly or a naked point of control, there's nothing here, guys. There's nothing here. So I have to use price action, consolidation. You can see, okay, just looking at price action. Price formed this consolidation area. It pumped to the upside. Guess where it found support? It bounced inside of support. Okay, so I know that this is a valid zone if price falls to the downside, okay, to look for a long. I want price to dip below, get acceptance back above. You guys know the deal by now. Remember to smash up the like button for the education. But I will keep the community up to date if I do enter a long or short, areas of confluence, how the structure is unfolding. But I cannot with high probability count this as finished. Okay, this as finished, and we're just going to fall down here and take 60K from here. From this point, the structure for me does not look finished to just fall and claim $60,000. So it's either a fourth wave and you just claim the lows, maybe find support inside of this zone. Okay, the only other level that we have that's close by, well, close by is still a little bit far, $63,600. But you want price to find its feet, either a swing from these lows, okay, or the naked point of control. Maybe it's an aggressive fifth wave here to the downside. I want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want price to start trading back above. Okay, sign of strength. I know where to put my stop loss. Then you get a correction back to the upside, three-wave structure. I will take my fib, my time fib from the high to the low. You guys get the deal. I want the high here to finish after the 0.382. So you guys can see how I use the price action to show me what the next move can be. And then I align that with areas of confluence, okay, to make that next trading opportunity. Or trading decision, sorry, the trading decision. Mr. A Trader, welcome to the live stream. Let me go through some comments before I continue. Where's the comments? Let me just zoom out here, make this a little bit bigger. Let me go through some comments, guys. Let me put myself here in the corner. Let's go through some comments here together. Hi Devil, welcome to the live stream. Distance. Okay, hi Devil, how are you, bro? I'm really good. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend, by the way. If I didn't say that already. You're attempting the weekly naked point of control. Yes, I did. And I actually got into that level while I was busy going live. So sorry guys, for the people in the community, unfortunately I couldn't update you. I was just getting ready for the live stream, but I did tell everyone in the updates that I'm looking at that level for rejection. And that is where I entered the short. Okay. Morning legends. Mr. Jack, moderator. Is Mr. Jack a moderator? I can't see you. Okay, Mr. Jack, welcome to the live stream. Attempted, already in. Great. People pay attention in the class. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Morning. Much love, everyone. Mr. A Trader, hello, legends. Welcome. Great to see you here. Why does my fixed range volume profile on the last week candle show point of control below the candle? How is that possible? Guys, you have to remember that depending on which exchange you use to do your analysis on, your levels will be different. Okay. I use the Binance. What is it? Let me just get you the right ticker over here. Okay, it's the Binance Perpetual Contract, USDT, that I use. It currently has the most volume traded in the world. So I like to do analysis on a chart that has a lot of volume behind it. Because when I then work out levels, they are mostly more accurate than using any other Bitcoin pair chart. Okay. So depending on which chart you use to do your analysis on, your levels will be different. So it's always good to maybe have two charts. So what I do in the mornings is I will look at Binance and I will look at Coinbase and I will compare the levels. And if the levels are at similar areas, I will leave it. If the levels are very far from each other, I will include both levels. Okay. Let's get back here into the comments. Hi Devil, does it have a chance to go absolute bananas? Yes, it has a chance. Unfortunately, not the highest probability, but I mean, sometimes the low probable scenarios play out. The highest probable scenario for price to continue here to the upside. Okay, we have to zoom out a little bit for this one. Let me just clean up the noise. Let's clean up the noise over here. The highest probable scenario is that you have formed this little bad boy, or we are forming this little bad boy over here. Where is my extended? This one, which is still corrective, by the way. Okay, W, X, and you form a larger A, B, C to the upside. Okay, This area, that little naked point of control at $76,147 is definitely a zone where I will be looking for a short, because this will be a nice little trade here to the downside. Okay. Just like this one over here. Okay. This short was highlighted in the community. I hope you guys got in, because I did see a lot of people got into that short, but it never ceases to amaze me that, you know, when traders enter the exact same trade, some people lose money, some people break even, and some people make money. It never ceases to amaze me. So if you did get in here and you made money, congratulations. If you didn't make money, but you still shorted over here, you have to ask yourself why. What can you do better next time? Okay. Did you panic? Did you add to your position? You know, you have to go. And that's why a journal for me is so important. When I enter a trade, I journal my feelings, where I took profits. And then after the trade played out and maybe I closed the position, I have exit questions that I ask myself also. If this trade had to play out again, will you take it? If you won, will you still take this trade? If you've lost, now that you've lost money in this trade, will you take this trade again? Those are some of the questions that I ask myself so that I can learn from where I'm going wrong and better myself as a technical trader. Very important to have a journal to keep track of these trades. But yes, here you have it, a scenario that can still go and continue here to the upside. Unfortunately, it does not carry the highest probability, but you never know. You never know. Okay. Price is hitting resistance here at the naked point of control. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough nut to crack. You can see that the selling pressure is higher than the buying pressure at the moment. So for now, based on what is happening here, the bears are still in control, even with this little pumpy action that we're seeing here to the upside. Right, guys, let me just scroll down a little bit here. I have that problem too with TradingView. My weekly point of control is hoeing below the low of the actual candle. Something is wrong. Is that not possible? Now, guys, I just showed you on the weekly time frame. Mine's exactly where it, well, that's the level that I've been highlighting. I actually highlighted that level this morning inside of the community, where I basically go through all the views. Okay, and this is what I do inside of the community, especially on Mondays, just to make sure that everyone have their levels marked out. So what I like to do on Mondays inside of the community is I go to the weekly time frame, especially on the Monday. I go to the weekly time frame. Okay, let's just take these levels out, go switch on the weekly levels. And then I make sure that I have all my weekly levels marked out. And especially after a new week, okay, I usually look for 2 weekly levels. Is there a weekly level? Let me put myself back here. Okay. And is there a weekly naked point of control? So here on the Binance Perpetual chart, okay, like using the method that I've just shown you, well, there's a weekly level there. That's where we got the rejection. That's where I entered the short. Okay. You can take it a step further and you can say, okay, well, I'm going to look at I'm going to look at I'm going to look at Coinbase as well. I'm going to look at 2 charts. So I haven't checked the Coinbase charts, by the way, guys. Let's check the Coinbase chart. Okay. So on the Coinbase chart, let's see if it has a different level. No, exactly at the same spot. Okay, then what I do is I go to the daily time frame, switch off the weekly levels, go to the daily time frame. Now I'm looking for daily levels. Okay, so switch on my daily levels. And there we go. Okay, the only daily level that we have is this one. A little bit further up at $78,700. We have this one where we've made the high and we, entered the short as a community, and there's nothing else. I can't put a daily level here because this candle is still forming. I can only tomorrow, if price is still above this level, then that will be a daily level, but not today. Okay, so no, I can't put one there. It has been claimed. That one has been claimed. That one has been claimed. That one has been claimed. These ones has been claimed. So there's no fresh daily levels. This one, okay, if you all remember, that is where we entered along at the 786 when you take a fib from the high, the low to the high. 786, beautiful tap, got in with great risk management, and I took profits, closed my position over there. That was a beautiful trade, very profitable trade. That was also highlighted inside of the community. It was also that godly pattern. Okay, then the next thing that I do is I go to the 1 hour time frame to get my daily naked point of controls. That's just the way that I like to do them. Okay, so I switch on my session volume profile, wait for that to load up, and then those little red lines, those are the lines that I am interested in. So the only two red lines that are not tapped, that are still naked, this is why you call them naked point of controls, because they have not been claimed by price action. There's one, and there's one. This is today's. I can't use today's. Yesterday's has already been claimed. The day before has been claimed. Look at that beautiful swing failure from yesterday's point of control, by the way. These levels are powerful. Okay, so the only two on my chart, and this is where I then highlight my naked point of controls, and you can see that there's alignment. Okay, so that's basically how I get my levels, and this is something that I do every single morning. Okay, not the weeklies, because you can only do that on Mondays. The dailies you can only do in the morning, okay, together with your naked point of controls. And that is how I get my levels. And I know it gets confusing because depending on which exchange you use to do your analysis on, these levels will be at different areas. And this is why I will usually go to the Coinbase chart and make sure that those levels are in the same zone. So I'll also go to the 1 hour. I'll switch on session volume profile, wait for that to load up. So I know already that I have a level there, which is fine, and I have a level there. There's no other levels here, so it aligns. Okay, so great. That's basically how I get my levels on the chart. Okay, so now, what else? Okay, what else? Just want to see if there isn't any new comments streaming in here. Mr. Mark Dutch in the house. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, guys, because this is where we do pure technical analysis, okay? And we just change we just trade the local structures. So for me, I don't actually care what happened here, and I actually don't care what happens here. I'm very interested to trade that little structure over here from a day trading perspective. Yes, it is important for me to keep it in mind, to say that, well, okay, there's a chance that this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, looking for a long. Or if the fifth wave does not reach this level, where can it turn around? Well, from a price action perspective, we have support. Okay, so that is a place where it can bounce. Where the fifth wave comes down, it starts trading back above. I don't want to wait for a level and then it front run. So I need to use price action for potential long as well. If this is the end of an impulse, this is the start, and this is the end, then I also know that this high was made too soon. It's too soon, okay, from a timing perspective. So I would still expect maybe an A, a B, a C, but something needs to continue, or an A, B, C. But I want something that's going to extend in time to correct the impulse. Like I've just explained, from a timing perspective, it doesn't make sense for me, okay, to say that this is the high and we're going to $60,000, because from a timing perspective, it doesn't make sense for me. Okay, these are my rules that I follow from a trading perspective. You can see that if this is the end of something, that it's not time yet. Yes, you can still go and claim the low in a 5-wave structure, but then I'm looking for a long in this zone. But so I guess what I'm trying to highlight, for me as a technical trader, okay, I cannot enter a short here and then hope and pray that I'm only going to take profits at $60,000, because I know that the structure carries higher probability to have a longer correction and for this high to be claimed again before it gets there. I hope that makes sense. Right, next short is going to be fun. Yes, it is going to be fun because I know that there are people that missed out on this short. And if price is going to fall down and repeat this fractal, okay, that everyone is talking about, well, there's a not, you where are you going to get in? Okay, where are you going to get in? And remember, guys, I always talk about the community, okay, the updates that I provide. And link down in the description. DM me the word access on Telegram and I'll send you the instructions on how to join the community. And the community is growing very fast. Very happy about how the community is growing at the moment. People learning there at the moment. Okay. And these are basically the scenarios that I wanted to discuss here on, okay, on the lower time frame. So in summary, guys, if this is the start and this is the end, okay, it's not time for the correction to be done. Yes, it can still form a flat. So it doesn't mean that you can't take the low, but I don't expect a capitulation to the downside. The most bearish case scenario that I see at the moment, okay, is if price falls from here and it does not claim that high, the most bearish case scenario that I see is that it comes down to this naked point of control. Because you could still be busy with the structure. It's not finished yet. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you have an A, B, C inside of your wave 4. So this is the most aggressive bearish move that I see based on current price action. Now this is the conundrum. Once price surpasses the 0.382, okay, whatever price does over here, once price surpasses the 0.382, then the opportunity opens up again for price to capitulate. And yes, it can get to $60,000. Doesn't have to, but it can get there. But that is my clue that I will be looking at as a technical trader, guys. And it's my rules that keeps me profitable. Okay, it's my rules that tells me how aggressive I need to be with profit taking. But I cannot enter a short over here, for example, and only take profits. Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me because the structure tells me that it doesn't make sense yet. Okay, maybe if it does this, then I'm going to say, okay, it has a chance, so I'll leave a bigger position open for lower. Right, it's sideways most of the time. Option selling is giving me the dollar much more than futures. Then the trend resumes. Already sent but no answer yet. I'm sure one of the team members or myself after the live stream will reach out to you. Okay, I do check my messages after the live stream during the day when I have a moment. Okay, so right, very interesting market. Thanks for all the alpha, brother. Absolute pleasure. Mark Dutch, always appreciate you being here and popping into the live streams. Mark, nice to see you arrive a bit late. Could you please tell me the most probable scenario real quick? I've gone through all the scenarios already, but maybe we can spend a little bit more time. I just want to show everyone which scenarios here on the 1 hour got invalidated. So if I clean up the chart here real quick, okay, I wanted to go through that one, has been invalidated. A, B, remember we spoke about this last week, and you form a contracting ending diagonal. We did not take the high, we tapped the invalidation, out the window. So I can actually delete it. Okay, which one else is here? Alternative, I want to see if the alternative also, before I delete it, okay? So from this low, you need to count something impulsive to the upside. If this is a B, you have to count an impulsive structure to the upside. I can count a 1, I can count a 2. You can even count a 1 and a 2, okay? Because maybe this is an A, B, C running flat in 2. Then you have a 3 or another 1 and a 2, but now you took the low. So you invalidate a double 1 2 1 2 1 2 invalidated. Okay, now I try the ending diagonal, also invalidated. What about a 1 2 3? Where's 4? Where's 5? Didn't happen. So I cannot with high probability count an impulse from this point for price to absolutely just continue to complete the C wave. The only scenario that makes sense is where did I save it? New, this one, where it came to an end. W, X in a triangle, A, B, C, and Y, rejected at a Y wave target. That makes sense. If it's going to continue, then that's the scenario that I'm looking at, which is, by the way, you might be saying, Devil, you don't see any bullish case scenarios, but this one still moves up, but it's still a corrective structure. W, X, Y, you increase the probabilities of taking the low at $60,000. So if this short that I'm in now doesn't play out, guys, remember, I always have a different trading plan. If price starts continuing and rampaging here to the upside, takes the high, well, I'll be looking for that short, and I will make sure that I keep the community up to date as well. Hopefully I'm not sleeping when that happens. Okay, but I have to stress that this move has to happen really fast. Because of how short W is, you want to see a relationship, and you can already see that Y is becoming very long compared to W. So you want to see a relationship between the two structures. So for now, based on current price action, I'm really struggling to count a bullish scenario where price, this is the low, and price rampages here to the upside. I am struggling to count a bullish structure inside here where price absolutely just rips to $85,000. Okay, I will spend some more time looking at the structure. Maybe Joan will share some scenarios inside of our community as well. Joan is also a really good technical Elliot wave counter. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing here at the moment. I think the only... Yeah, I did think about that scenario as well, but I will give it some more thought because, I always say that a good technical analyst always has a bullish and a bearish case scenario. The most bullish case scenario that I see here is price does move up, but it rejects again to take the low. So there's your bullish, but it's still bearish because I will be looking for a short here, and it's still a corrective structure, zigzag to the upside. Okay. For price to absolutely just continue, I don't see it, guys. I really don't see it. Not yet. I really don't see it yet. And it's not often where I look at price action and I don't see the other side of the token. I want to be able to come here onto the live stream and tell everyone there's still a chance for a 1, and there's still a chance for a 2, and then inside of the structure there's still a chance for a third wave here to the upside, and it's just not looking great at the moment. It's like trying to look for a bullish case scenario when it's like trying to look for a bullish case scenario. That's what it feels like to me at the moment, to try and look for a bullish case scenario. It just doesn't look great. Okay, I think the bullish case scenario we were discussing here was maybe this is a 1 2, this is another 1 2. That's your invalidation. Okay, and there was problems bigger. The most obvious is a bigger 1 2 than your first 1 2 doesn't make sense, always carries lower probability. And I can't remember all the details, but I know there was a couple of issues with the double 1 2. 1 2 3 4 overlap. Okay, you can't count a clean impulse to the upside. So even if you force a bullish count inside of this structure, it didn't look pretty. And for now, it doesn't look pretty, a bullish count that I'm seeing here at the moment, unless I can figure something out. Okay, maybe after the live stream, I'll give it some more thought. And, right. You need to have a short and long open, but the highest case scenario at this point is lower highs and 45k. We go. Yeah, Redhead Alan, it's based on the current price action. It does look like price is, even if it continues here to the upside, okay, it does look like there's a higher chance, even if price continues to the upside, to make a lower high for now, based on current price action, and then it falls down. Okay. On the local structure, I've already gone through the local structure. This can be your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get the correction and continuation, but you're still looking for a lower high. If this is the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's say that's the end of the impulse, you're still looking for a larger corrective structure, and then you can fall, because this can be 1, this becomes 2, you fall in a third wave, 4 and 5, you claim the lows. Okay, very interested in longs in this zone. Let's see if price gets there, but I don't think it's going to get there today. Based on the current price action, I don't think it's going to get there today. But remember, guys, I'm just a crazy dude on YouTube, sharing with you how I approach the markets. Sometimes low probability scenarios do play out. Okay, one of the low probability scenarios that I see at the moment, if price does continue to the upside, is the one that I've shared right over here. This scenario can play out, but it's a low probability scenario. And sometimes the low probable scenarios play out. But make no mistake, okay, I will be ready for the short. Remember, guys, I'm already positioned. Yeah, I've shared that when this happened, okay, I shared it. I'm already positioned in a short. I've already taken a significant amount of profits here. So if I get stopped out, I will be looking for a new short. And, you know, you just rinse and repeat. Basically, I'm going to rinse and repeat over here. Okay, the question is, can you get in with good risk management? And where do you get in? How do you get in? We still have levels there to the upside. We have those point of controls. We have daily levels. We have weekly levels. And you can see that, you know, for now to the upside, there's still a lot of resistance. You still have to contend with a daily level and a naked point of control inside of this zone. So regardless of how you count the structure, if price moves up, that's a shorting opportunity. If it doesn't react and it closes with high volume above the level, flips it into support, well, then the next level is that point of control. Next level is that daily level. Okay, we just got an SFP from this weekly naked point of control where I've entered a short. Okay, and that I highlighted in the community this morning. Currently falling nicely to the downside. Profits are printing, and I've already taken some profits. So yeah, trade's looking good. Not going to take profits right now. Do you ever use Heiken Ashi candle? Oh, I know the Heiken Ashi. No, I don't. I have played around with them. It's just not my cup of tea. Okay, I'm so used to these candles. I know that some professional traders love the Heiken candles. I'm just trying to figure out where on earth are they. Here we go. Okay. I don't use them. I want to see the wicks. I want to see the actual price action that closed. You know, it's just my style of trading. But I mean, you can use Heiken. It's up to you. If you're used to them, if you've done your back testing using your trading strategy on these candles, by all means. Okay, I don't know. I don't use it. I like my normal candles. Also, monthly bean resistance through the weekend. Monthly, are you checking monthly levels as well? Yeah, guys, remember the daily levels, how I showed you how I get the daily, the weeklies. You also need, and I don't even think I did it this, naughty me. I don't even think I did the monthly levels this month for March. Okay, just want to see. Let's clean up these levels. Let's open up the monthlies. You have a monthly open, you have a monthly close. Yeah, these ones are still relevant. You can see that you have a monthly level, open and close, has not been tapped. I think I checked that out. Was it tapped? It actually has been tapped. So maybe that one is not valid. Yeah, that one definitely was tapped. Yep, so that is not a monthly level. All we have is the monthly naked point of control. Just want to make sure. Yep, that is a monthly naked point of control. So that's the most interesting level here to the downside. Okay, legends, where do you recommend we enter a short now? Well, maybe with a back test. It's not my way of trading, but I know that some people do trade like that. So there's another re-entry opportunity. Okay, so let's look at this local structure over here. That's a really good question, because sometimes you miss the SFP. And now you're like, I still want to be part of the short because based on my analysis, we're going down to lower levels. Okay, or based on your analysis, we're going down to lower levels. So you wait for the back test. So the easiest way to get back into this short is that you go onto even the 1 minute time frame. You zoom into that little structure because you've already done your analysis on the higher time frames. You're now just looking for an entry. So what I would do is I will take a fib from the high, and if price still falls to the downside, you just drag your fib down. But if price starts bouncing here to the upside, well, now you know where your areas of resistance are. You can reject anywhere in this zone. Preferably price at least taps the 0.382 because that's what happens 75% of the time. Golden pocket, always the best. Okay, so you basically wait for the back test. That is your shorting opportunity. You know where to put your stop loss to get continuation to the downside. So if your analysis shows you that this is the rejection that's going to take us lower, you wait for the back test. That's where you get in, so you can, you know, for me at least, guys, I can't tell you what to do. This is how I would do it. Okay, I have to put that disclaimer out there. I can't tell you how you need to trade. So what I would do is, if price continues, I will drag my fib down. If price bounces where it is right now, well, then you wait for the back test. Okay, so usually what happens a lot of the times is you get the swing failure pattern and it comes back and it back tests and it continues. That is, I mean, the closer you can get it to your stop loss, the better. Okay, because the further you start, if you start entering or building a position at the 382, you have more risk to contend with in terms of where you need to put your stop loss, unless you are a sniper. And I know the community knows what I'm about to say, because some people can trade like this very successfully. You can be a sniper and you can play SFPs from these levels. Okay, and you can have multiple attempts until price starts turning around. And that is exactly how I traded this short. I made a video about it for those of you that don't know. Sorry guys, I did something here. I just wanted to undo. Okay, let's go back here onto the 15-minute time frame. This little bad boy over here, this one. This is how I got into this short. Had my fib. So I knew based on my analysis that price was going to go down. Okay, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure to the downside. And then you formed this corrective structure. So what I did is exactly the same way that I've explained it to you now. I know that there was a higher probability for price to make a lower high and continue to the downside. Because I could count a clear 5 wave inch structure, I took my fib from the high to the low, drag it across, and I think I had 3 attempts in this zone, if I remember correctly. I actually made a video about this. Okay, go and check in the video section. It says nailed it. Go check out that video. I made a video about this trade, how I entered this trade. Okay, very educational. I think I tried here, and this is where I nailed it. I got stopped out twice with profits. So even if I'm wrong, I'm still making money because I applied a swing failure strategy when I was looking for this short. Eventually I entered literally there. I entered at $70,000.69. That's where I entered. Stop goes above the high. Price started falling down. took profits to cover my fees, my stop loss, and the rest is history. Made a nice little trade here to the downside. So basically, I'm looking at the same thing. So if you feel that you've missed out on the short, I'm waiting. You wait for the back test, and then price continues to the downside. Okay, sometimes it doesn't back test, but that's why we have stop losses to protect ourselves. Okay, I also keep CVD in mind when I look at these trades, guys, you know. Just want to see. We are currently forming a little bit of bullish CVD. A little bit of bullish CVD. Let's see how this plays out. But I'm more interested in what happened with that little trade, just to show you guys, because I do keep CVD in mind as well. It was this one, huh? Just want to see what happened here from a CVD perspective. Yeah, no, this one was not easy. This one that was not easy from a CVD. There was no bearish CVD against this pivot and that pivot. But against that pivot, okay, when price fell down in a three-wave structure, it retraced with bearish CVD. So there was another opportunity to get in. Between those two pivots, there was bearish CVD. Bearish CVD. Massive bearish CVD, actually. Okay, so that was another opportunity to get in if you missed that one over there. But it's always interesting for me to go back and see, well, how could I have played the trade better? If I lost money, would I take the trade again? Did I learn something from it? Did I FOMO into the trade? Did I risk more than what I could afford to lose? Did I stick to my risk management rules? Those are questions that I'm very honest with myself when I, you know, inside of my trading journal. The trend is still to the downside, yes, and I think that's why it's in my best interest today specifically to look for shorts, okay? And right, guys, I think I have spoken about all the scenarios over here, what could potentially play out. I will keep the community up to date. Remember, if you want to have those updates during the day, okay, DM me the word access on Telegram, and I will send you the instructions on how to get in. I will jump into my DMs now straight after the live stream. So if you have sent a message and you haven't received a response, I will respond to you right now after the live stream. Have yourselves an amazing Monday. Let's see how this week unfolds. Until the next one, cheers for now.